Hi, welcome to The Simple Truth. I'm Paul Manicki, and we have got to talk about this big debate over minimum wage. A lot of the discussions I've heard so far all seem to be missing a very big piece of the puzzle, and that's what I want to share with you today. So right now, the federal minimum wage is set at $7.25 an hour. The debate is, do we raise it to $15? So the question is, what happens to this job if we do? Now the theory is that it's going to move up to the new rate. So is this arrow accurate? Well, we need to know because millions of jobs are going to be affected by this. So how do we know? Let's bring in the example of a Honda Civic. I know that seems crazy, but bear with me. And let's bring in Steve. Steve doesn't make a lot of money, but over the past 2 years, he's been saving up enough money for a deposit to buy a brand new Honda Civic. So right now, the Honda has a price tag of, let's say, $25,000 for the Civic. So Steve takes his money, goes down to the dealership, puts it on a table, and says, I'm here to buy the brand new Honda Civic. Now the salesperson says, stop right there. I can't sell you the car for 25 grand. You see, the government just passed a law saying that it was illegal to sell any car for less than $50,000. Now Steve is devastated because he knows two things to be true. One, the Civic isn't worth $50,000, and two, there is no way he can afford it. So he goes home without a car. Now, let's bring in our example into our debate. So the Civic represents the job. The $25,000 price tag, the value of the car, represents the $7.25 an hour, the value of the job. This $50,000 hypothetical law represents the $15 an hour minimum wage. So, if this law was to really pass, what would happen to the Honda? Would it move up to the new rate? And the answer is, of course not. Why? Because you and me and everyone else would never pay $50,000 for a $25,000 Civic. So if the Honda doesn't move up to 50, it's going to have to move down to 0. No one's going to buy it. If you and I are forced to spend $50,000 on a car, we're going to buy a Mercedes, a BMW, an Audi. It's not going to be a Civic. So what about our job? Is it going to move up to $15 an hour? Well, it's going to follow the path of the Civic down to 0. Why? Because just like you and I are not going to spend $50,000 on a $25,000 car, no one's going to pay $15 an hour for a job worth $7.25. So everyone that believes in the $15 an hour minimum wage believes in the arrow, believes that all of these jobs are going to move up to the new rate. The simple truth is they're not. They can't move up. They're going to move down and out because any job worth less than $15 an hour is going to all have to move down to 0. Just like all cars worth less than $50,000 are also going to all move down to 0 because no one's going to buy them. We still have a problem. The idea of a $15 minimum wage is to create what's considered a livable wage. Now, is $7.25 a livable wage? Of course not. It's a minimum wage designed for a no education, no skills, no experience, entry-level position. Minimum wage is not intended to be a livable wage. These are two totally different areas. So the problem still exists. How do you go from minimum wage to a livable wage and beyond? Well, that's for our next discussion. Thanks for watching.